Hi everyone, welcome to part 2 of DataWeave Mulesoft training, and in this video we will be looking at how we can read the data using selectors and how we can use the variables and operators. Also we will learn about how would we control the flow of execution in the DataWeave. Okay, so let's get started. So selectors, they are essentially a tools that we use to read the data from request body, response body, wherever we are getting it from. So let's look at one of these. So there are 5 selectors. Let's look at one of these in the playground. Okay. So if you have watched the first video, we discussed about this DataWeave playground. You can just go to Google and say DataWeave playground. It will direct you to this site. So what we have here is we have our payload here in the left hand side, and we can write our script. We can try out things, and we'll have the corresponding output. Okay. So every time you want to try out some things without actually have to create a mule project, you can come here and just play around with the syntax. So first of all, let me write payload here. So payload, yeah, here it is. So this is my payload. So first of all, we have single value selector. So whenever you are you want a value of a property or a key from an object, so you use payload dot and you'll write that key. So here I'm writing message. Okay, so there you go, we have hello world. Okay, we also have some of these. We'll talk about them we'll cover them in the later selectors. So for now, let's understand that if you want to access a property inside an object, you'll use single value selector. Similarly, if I write payload.arr, we'll get an array which is this array. Okay, now comes next is index selector. So any of you who have programming experience must know that whenever we talk about accessing the first element in an array, we use 0th index. That means if we were to give positions to these elements, we would start with 0. Like at the 0th position we have 1, at 1th position we have 2, at 2nd position we have 3. So if I write 0, it will give me the first element. If I write 1, it will give me the second element. In the continuity of this selector, we have our range selector. If we have to fetch a sub array from an array, we use this. So when I write 0 to 1, that means give me all the elements counting from 0 to 1. At 0 we have 1, and at 1 we have 2. First position. Okay, so we'll get this sub array. That is what we are getting. Okay, next we have multi-value selector. So remember, let me remove this for now. Okay, so suppose there are two keys. Okay, there is message 1 and there is another message. So there are two messages. We saw at the beginning, if I write message, okay, it is giving the first occurrence, that is this. What happens if if we have multiple keys and we want all of them, all of the values? In that case, we'll use multi-value selector. Okay, let me add an asterisk here, and there you go, we have all the occurrences of message property. Okay, now next we have descendant selector. So as the name says, descendants, that means there must be a hierarchy following up. So if in an object I add another object, okay, there is this inner object, and in that inner object there is one more property called message, and irrespective of the hierarchy, I just want that all of these occurrences of message should be available. So I use this double dots, and there you go, we got the first occurrence of this message and first occurrence of this inner object, that is this one. But I'm not able to see this. How you doing? Why is that happening? Because this double dot only it works like a single value selector but with a nested objects. Okay, it doesn't work like it will get me all the occurrences irrespective of the hierarchy. So there are two things. Multi-value, what it does is it will get you all the occurrences in the same hierarchy level. That means there should not be the nested occurrences. For example, if I write this dot asterisk, you will get that at the same hierarchy level it is getting me all the occurrences, but this inner object message, it is not getting me that. So for that, what we will do is we will combine both of these to get all the messages. Okay, so if I write dot asterisk, there you can see we have all three occurrences. So this is pretty much it for the selectors. Okay, Next we have variables. Okay, so variables concept is pretty much simple. What we have to do is we have to declare a var, and let's say I'm declaring it message, and I'm saying this as hello world. Okay, you can give this any type. If you want to know more about what types are data types are available in in DataWeave, I'll suggest you watch the first video in this series. Okay, so here I have given this. So if I write msg simply, there you can see we are getting this hello world. Okay, hello world, I am msg. Yeah, so there you go. This is a very simple use of variables. Next we have operators. Okay, so the operators here are very similar to your normal programming language operators. So if you don't have any experience with logical operators, so here are the list of logical operators. I won't be going over each of them I won't be going over each of them. Okay, let me just give you an example of first expression. Okay, so let's move on to our playground and let's see what happens. So in the variable, let me give two numbers. Okay, num1 is, let me give it 9. Next is num2, let me give it 7. So if I simply just write num1 greater than num2, so it will give me true. Okay, so this is how operators work. Okay, I would suggest you to go through each of them in the playground. Okay, and I'll add the documentation in the description box, so do check it out. Okay, they might not seem important at first, but they will be useful when we work into the actual applications. Okay, next on we have flow control. Okay, so this is like decision making. Okay, if else, if anybody is aware of the if else uh, thing in the programming, this is pretty much similar. So if you want to have multiple like choices between what you have to do, so let's say uh, you want to say that if the value of deal is greater than 100, then says it make the rating variable as hot, and if it's less than 100, make it as cold. Okay, something like that. So in that case you will use the flow control. That means if a certain value is below that, or if certain value fulfills this condition, the answer should be this, otherwise it should be this. Okay, so here is an example. It says that if payload.price, there's a price property, and if it is less than 100, I want to return this by. Okay, there's one more condition, else if you want to have multiple conditions, you will use else if. Okay, so if payload.price is greater than 140, we should sell it. Okay, else hold. If it's somewhere in between the 100 and 140, we should hold it. Okay, so like it is giving you a sort of example of a stock price. Okay, if it's less than 100, we should buy it. If it's greater than 140, we should sell it, otherwise we should hold it. So there you go. This is how we use the flow control. Now another way to achieve this is the literal pattern matching. So what we do is whenever we want to to match a value, we'll just simply write that value. Okay, this payload.action, and we'll write this keyword match, and inside that we will have different cases. Okay, so in case of buy, we will return this message. In case of sell, we will return this message, and in case of hold, we will return this message. What does else do? So it is basically a default output. Okay, if the value of this payload.action doesn't match any of these cases value, then we would execute this else value. So in that case, invalid input. So this is how we go about using flow control. Okay, in the next upcoming videos, we'll learn about functions and how we can work with arrays and objects. Okay, if you're new to the channel, please do consider subscribing and like this video. So yeah, thank you for watching.